Happy Saturday, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's having a super Saturday. Hopefully, everybody will get a chance to participate in the literacy poll that I have there. Information that I wanted to share today is the literacy crisis in the U.S. is deeply concerning and totally preventable, according to the research. Literacy is one of the major civil rights issues of our time. Our children's future, yes, our children's future and our nation's democracy depends on us addressing this crisis right now. Frederick Douglass said, once you learn to read, you will be forever free. This was true in the 19th century when he was decrying the notion that enslaved people lacked the intellectual capacity to function as an American citizen. And the statement still carries weight today. There is currently a literacy crisis happening in the United States. And do you agree with that? One that disproportionately affects students of color and that cannot be ignored. Literacy is one of the major civil rights issues of our time and our children's future and our nation's democracy depends on us, again, addressing it now. This is a situation, this is something that is going on that cannot wait. There's overwhelming evidence that nearly all children can learn to read. Yes, all children can learn to read. And guess what? They should be expected to learn to read. But in schools across the country, many students, especially students, hold on. So sorry about that interruption. Hey, I am terrific. Hey, just sharing some information here about the literacy crisis that we are dealing with in the United States. And according to research, there is a crisis, but it is totally preventable. Do you agree with that? Do you think it's preventable? There's overwhelming evidence that nearly all children, as I stated, can read. And guess what? They should be expected to read. But in schools across the country, many students, especially students of color, our boys and girls, students from low income backgrounds, multilingual learners, and students with disabilities are not yet skillful readers. But why? Why are they not? Hey, good morning, Z Adams. Thank you for joining us as well. We're just sharing information about the literacy crisis in the United States, and it is deeply concerning. But according to research, it's preventable. So there's something within the home that's not going right, something was within the school. I am terrific says, I blame the parents first. Absolutely. Because we know it all starts at home with the parents. Last year, the National Assessment of Educational Progress, NAEP, the nation's report card, it's our report card, showed that not even half, listen at this data, Not even half. 40, 43% of fourth graders in the United States scored at or above a proficient level in reading. Our students are not reading, and it is showing in the data. And for marginalized students, the numbers are even much worse. Just 17%, yes, 17% of Black students, 21% of Latino students, 11% of students with disabilities, and 10% of bilingual learners can read proficiently by fourth grade. Now, that's a problem. That is a problem. Again, 17% of Black students, 21% of Latino is a bit higher than the Black students, 11% of students with disabilities, and 10% of bilingual students can read proficiently by fourth grade. So that creates a problem. Do you all see a problem with these numbers? What are your thoughts? Do you see a problem with those numbers? Because I do. And also, please take that poll if you don't mind. Do you see a problem with those numbers that I just shared? That any child, let alone the majority of children, goes to school without being taught to read is deeply concerning. And I am terrific. That goes back to what you said. You blame the parents. Because again, the article did say majority of children, they go to school without being taught to read. That's a high concern, and also completely preventable. Again, that is preventable, but parents got to get up and put the work in. We must, as parents, put the time in to assist them with educating our children. There are 5 widely accepted components that are essential to reading: phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. Decades of research shows that when students receive explicit and systematic instruction across all of these domains, they will learn to read. And when students are given access to texts with rich, diverse characters and cultures, seeing people like themselves fully represented in school materials, they will become engaged readers. Let's see what you said. I am too. My princess had a friend who could see from even if it was touching her nose. Okay, her parents were POS. She was getting passed on to the next grade level every year. I had to call, the school and all them to get the girls some. Okay, she couldn't see. Somebody should have recognized that. A lot of times the schools are able to pick up on issues like that because they spend so much time there with the teachers at the school. So y'all have some glasses. Is she picking up as far as her academics are concerned? I am terrific. But I think I asked earlier, do you all see a problem with the numbers that I just shared? Anyone see a problem with our students not being close to reading on the fourth grade level? Please, okay, I am Teresa. Please hit the like button. Okay, share and subscribe. Thank you for that reminder. I am terrific. Not only knowing how to read, a lot of them do not know their names. They only know the answer to their nicknames. So who's at fault for that? Who's at fault for that, Z Adams? Is it the school's responsibilities to teach them how to read, since we're talking about literacy, and to teach them their names, since you brought up the names? Do you feel like that is whose responsibility do you think that is? And while we're talking about something just as simple as the names, believe it or not, you have fourth graders walking around unable to, and I think I've said this in several of my lives, unable to tie their shoelaces. Who's at fault? Is it the school's responsibilities to teach the literacy, to teach them their real names and not their nicknames, to teach them how to tie their shoes? Whose responsibilities is it? Does that fall on the school? How much of this will actually fall on the parents? And something else, do you all feel like this literacy crisis that we're dealing with, and I'm going to share more information about this, do you all feel, hold on. Do you all feel that it's preventable, like the article felt like it's preventable? Do you too feel that it is preventable? Do you all think that it's preventable as well? Or do you think it's too far gone if they're not reading by fourth grade? And how do we get them caught up? Yeah, we get them caught up. Who do we work as a team, the home and the school, to get them caught up? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? So why do we see staggering numbers of children, especially children of color, children from low income backgrounds without fundamental literacy skills? We can end this because this right here can take us the next hour or so to discuss. I am terrific says, I don't know if she caught up. Okay. Because they could be passing her on. Yes, that happens from time to time. She's in the seventh grade. Okay. And I'm wondering how she made it that far. So being able to see the blackboard for 3 years. Wow. Can you just sit and can you imagine? I am terrific. How much instructional time she lost. Can you imagine? I feel that it is school can get support from. Okay. Okay, you feel like that it's preventable if the school can get support from home. Okay, because it's gonna that school is gonna need some help because you got to think they're only there what 7 8 hours by the time you feed them breakfast. Then with the restroom breaks included in, you got to stop and feed them for lunch. They got to have recess. They stop for connection. So really, the school only has, if you take away all that non-instructional time, a good 5 hours maybe to provide instruction. So the two must work together in order to prevent or close this gap when it comes to reading. But do you all see a problem with those numbers that I shared earlier on that report card? 17% of Black students, 21% of Latino students, 11% of students with disabilities, and 10% of bilingual learners can read proficiently by fourth grade. And I don't know if you all were on any of the lives, but I always share, according to what research says, we either invest and spend the money on the front end, which is now teaching them how to read by third grade, or we are going to spend the money on the back end. Because research says if they're not reading by third grade, you can almost guarantee them a bed in the local prison. Terrific says, it's sad. My baby is no longer allowed to hang with her. She's become, boy crazy. She's into boys now. Okay, which could be a symptom of her not feeling smart enough. Absolutely. 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 So if I understood her, that was almost 3 years, of the baby sitting there needing attention. Like somebody would have caught on that she was having problems actually with her eyesight. Normally, the teachers, the school is pretty good about picking up on that. They are. They're pretty good about picking up on that. I have another part that I wanted to share. In many districts and schools, outdated teaching materials and curricula that have been proven ineffective and even harmful are still being used. Adding to this problem is that too many teachers, enter the profession without any training and evidence-based reading instruction, which means they lack the knowledge or effectively teach their students how to read. In other words, the teachers, what the article said, the teachers are pretty much not qualified or don't know how to teach them how to read. Plus, there are unfounded and deeply entrenched ideas about how children learn to read and have had a reverberating and far-reaching impact, which have been expertly documented in Emily Hanford's podcast. sold a story in the documentary Right to Read, executive, and it was produced by Reading Rainbow. So that's something interesting if you get a chance to watch it. But in a nutshell, all the article was saying, and I've read many articles, there's tons of information out there about literacy. Literacy, every corner that you turn, almost every channel you turn to, I promise you, if you go on and do some searching on the internet today, you will find an article talking about the literacy crisis in the United States. There's always something about reading. Our children not being able to read. It's a problem. It's a crisis. How do we fix it? I wouldn't have known. Terrific says, okay, I would not have known. Oh, she was blind as a bat. If I hadn't put on a movie and she was squinting so hard, her eyes were closed. Wow. So I questioned her and decided to call the school. Absolutely. And who does she live with? Terrific. But I'm surprised. Like I said, most of the times the schools, the schools usually pick up, on things like that. Um, because even I have a little great niece. It's my sister's granddaughter, and she was having problems as well. But it was like, I think my sister kind of realized something was going on, but the school pretty much, had their thumbs on it in a nutshell. The schools, those teachers, like I said, they spend so much time there at the school with those teachers. Oftentimes, they see things that sometimes parents don't. I think she was able to fake it. Okay, gotcha. She was faking it. She faked until she got it. Good afternoon, Dr. J. Just a bit late, but present. Hey, Granny B. Always good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. We were just here having conversation, talking about the literacy crisis in the United States. And the article that I read, so he said it's deeply concerning, but it's totally preventable. Totally preventable. And I just shared, I don't know how much you heard. You can turn to any corner, any TV station, any newspaper article, and you will always see that four-letter word, READ, or reading. They talk about the deficit, whether children are not reading enough, especially now that they're competing against, social media and these devices, and about the crisis. And this is not something that just started, but according to research, it's not getting any better. And I shared some numbers from our National Assessment of Education Progress, which is the nation's report card. These numbers were kind of alarming. So let me share those again for you, Granny B. Just 17% of Black students, 17%, 1-7, 21% of Latino students, 11% of students with disabilities, and 10% of bilingual learners can read proficiently by fourth grade. That's not even 50%, Granny B. And I asked, do you all see a problem with these numbers? 17% of Black students, 21% of Latino students, 11% of students with disabilities, and 10% of bilingual learners can read proficiently. That's a small portion of students reading proficiently by fourth grade. Terrific say basically no one at home. Oh, cared if she could have don't know where the parents at. Okay. So she didn't have that parental support, that home support. Terrific. And that makes a difference. And that's what the question I always ask is the school cannot carry this weight alone. And terrific. I think you said that it's earlier in the chat, you typed that it was the parents' responsibility. And I agree because we're the first teachers. We have got to, our lives, it's not our own anymore. Once children come into play, we are held responsible for teaching them and getting them ready for the first day that they enter into a school building. Sad, it's a big problem, says Granny B. Sure does, absolutely. So how do we fix it? When I saw those numbers, I bet I read this article 4 or 5 different times. I'm like, wow. And another question I had here, so why do we see staggering numbers of children, especially children of color and children from low income backgrounds without fundamental literacy skills? Why? Okay, my questions are, what are parents not doing? Or should I say, what are parents of today not doing that parents of years ago, our parents, did? And I continue to ask, who do you fault? Do you fault the parents or do you fault the students? Who do you fault? We must go back to what we used to do, educate in all of our institutions, churches, community centers, I guess, what, grammar schools? Well, we got to start at home too, Granny B. We got to start at home. Okay, and I can understand parents want to say, "Oh, I can't help them. I can't help them." But even if you can't read and write, you can teach. You can teach a child colors: red, orange, green, blue, black, and white. If you can't read and write yourself, and I'm speaking from experience because my mom could not read and write, but I promise you, and some of y'all have heard this before. When we went to school, we knew our name, we knew our first and our last name. We knew our birthday. Keep in mind, this is from someone who could not read and write herself. We knew our birthday. I probably knew how to count up to 100. We knew our alphabets, A through Z. And did I say we knew how to write our name? And guess what? We knew how to tie our shoes. So I know it can be done. And also, if you all would take a minute to answer that poll that I have up there. Do you feel is literacy important? Yes or no? Terrific says my oldest had problems reading in first through third grade. Okay, fourth grade, they tried passing him on. I was like, oh no, you don't leave her. But I did that twice. She is where she should be, close to it. Okay, perfect. But I can tell you. I mean, you can't do it, for your oldest now, but if you have grandchildren coming along, it's better with that. If they're struggling, it's better to hold them back. In my opinion, probably pretty much K, if not K, first grade, because that's where that foundation, that's where those phonetic skills and those components that I shared earlier in the article, that's where those different components are taught. So if you're going to hold them back, it's best to probably try to catch them around kindergarten, if not kindergarten, first grade, because remember the five widely accepted components that are essential in reading: your phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. Well, those first three especially, they take place or they are being taught in the earlier years. That kindergarten, first grade, those are standards for pretty much kindergarten and first grade. When home doesn't work, we have to find resources in the community. We go back to the village. Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell you, and the more we give, and then, okay, let me ask you this, Granny B. Who's going to be held responsible for getting them there? Do the tutors, the directors of these different facilities, are they going to be the one to get them there? Or are the parents, if they're not willing to put the time in to teach them themselves, will they even find value in putting them in a car and driving them to these community facilities for them to get that extra help? What are your thoughts about that, Granny B? And it's been a while, as you all type your answers in, that I've been on, so I know I gotta tighten back up. Life happens. Life be lifing, as the folks say. So hopefully I will be able to get my consistency back up and moving. So I'm back up here at least 2, 3 times a week. I get her resources in high school and in college. She is now a business owner. Wow. Wow. That's what Karen does. Terrific. That's what Karen does. She's a business owner, and I am proud. Absolutely. I celebrate with you. I am as well. If it wasn't for me, who knows where she'd be? Perfect. That is awesome. I like those type stories. And that's just what a little Karen will do. Just got to care some. We just need help. It's got to be a team effort now, whereas the homes are working along with the schools. But I mean, unfortunately, nowadays, that scale is not balanced. You have the heavier, the most amount of weight put on the schools, and the parents are not, the homes, I won't say the parents, I'll say the homes are not carrying the amount of weight that they actually need to be carrying. Okay, Granby says not making any excuses, but some homes, moms, are some broken. Okay, it takes a lot of energy to just hold herself together. Right, right. Hey, Danae Adams, thank you for dropping in. So, but still, those children have needs. I call them my little short leg people. They don't ask to be born into this mess. So they're here now, Granny B. Now what? Now what? We're not making can we encourage the mom to call on someone else to make sure they get over there to the after school program? They get transported to the church. They go, X, Y, and Z where this help is being offered. Let's say this quote unquote this free help. Okay, mom is beat down, she's tired. Okay, what happens? Because keep in mind with these children, we're not raising children, we're actually raising adults. Because those legs, I say, are short now, but guess what? They're going to get longer, longer, and longer. And we don't want to raise them, so we have to take care of them the rest of our lives. So, what are we going to do? Our families need healing. Granted, that's going to be one. See, there's so much content out there for us to cover. Yes. So, seems like you're thinking we need to do that before we can do this. So we need to hurry. There's a sense of urgency. I'm not even talking about the bilingual, the Hispanic, and all these other categories, the Latinos that I read about. Just the Black community. Let's just push the Latino, those 11% students with disability. Let's push them to the side and just talk about our communities. But I mean, how long are we going to give our communities and our families to heal before we try to focus on getting our children so that they can read and be able to get out and be protected in life, and not add to the statistic that research has put out there that if they're not reading by third grade, they're almost guaranteed a bed in the local prison. Which is more important. Mama, daddy not having, their dealing with their foolishness, or trying to get these children up so that they can be productive in life. So, like, that's a whole nother show right there. I understand many parents single are having a hard time, tired. But while you cook, yep, you can go over class and homework. Absolutely. And take those devices away too. I have some information coming up probably next week, the next few days, about these devices. How much is too much time with these devices? Yes, because that's what our parents. And then when you're driving alone, you can make any moment into a teachable moment. You can walk outside, head into Walmart. What color is that such and such? What words do you see on that sign? You come to the stop sign. What letters of those? If you have a pre-K students, they can say STOP. You can make anything into a teachable moment. What sound does S make? What sound does T make? What sounds does O make? How many sounds can you get from O? It's a vowel, so there's two sounds. You have the short sound, you have the long sound. O. What sound does P make? Yes. How many letters do you see in the word stop? Yes. And while you're sitting in that kitchen cooking, get you some little index cards. Have those vocabulary words written out and tape them on the refrigerator, tape them on the floor, tape them on the cabinet. We just got to make do with what we have. And then, our parents, like I say, these children don't ask to be born into this mess, but once they're here. We gotta change some things around. Our life is not about us anymore. Yes, we have to go out and work and provide, but these children, they have needs too, meaning they have to be raised. Somebody has to be held responsible for teaching them right from wrong, for teaching them, have them ready to enter to pre-K or K. You can't expect the teachers to do it all. I know you're tired. I know it's hard, but we got to sacrifice. And a lot of us don't like to sacrifice. Okay? That's terrific. Hey, Ford Mustang, thank you for stopping by. Happy Saturday to you. Like done. How are you doing today? I am blessed. Any day I wake up, I'm above dirt, clothed in my right mind, hadn't gotten any upsetting phone calls. I am blessed. I am blessed. Still above dirt. How are you doing today? Praying that you are well too. Yo, if you don't mind, if you participate in that poll, there is literacy important, and that's the discussion that we're having now. 1967 Ford Mustang, just talking about the literacy crisis in the United States. Our children, our boys and girls, are not reading, and it's showing in the data. They are not reading on grade level. I remember being desperate. Oh, Hooked on Phonics is awesome. Got her evaluated, and they encouraged me to apply for SSI. But in 2 years, okay, they did cut it off because of the hard work we did. And then, okay, that's awesome. It will pay off. And this is just evidence just by what you're sharing, your testimony. It can be done. I'm a product. I know it can be done. But the schools, they cannot. What do we count now? By the time you get them there, get them off the buses, morning announcements, you feed them breakfast, they got to stop for lunch, they have to go to PE, they have to go to recess. The teachers are only left with about what, 4.5, maybe 5 hours of instructional time, so they can't do it all. I am at my uncle's wedding. Okay, you're at your uncle's wedding. Well, have fun. Have fun and tell your uncle and the bride that I said congratulations. Okay, you said I did it. Okay, thank you. Wasn't as dumb as they thought it was. Okay, thought she was. Absolutely. So she's the business owner now, right? Right, terrific. I am terrific. Really, I am. Okay. You put a hook onto your name there. I see. Really, I am. Okay, I like that. I don't think that has always been there. I just noticed that it was a bit longer. So this is very interesting, but I do have more information. Okay, awesome. Awesome. I love stories like that. I love stories like that. Look at that outcome in spite of. In spite of. Just take some time. You just got to devote some time. You have to devote the time to get the results that you are seeking. Absolutely. But yes, this is something to keep in mind. And like I said, I'm going to get back on my consistency. Like I said, life has been life, and so hopefully I can get things back 100. Okay, gotcha. Terrific. And I'm so glad you were able to stop by and catch me here. Terrific. You had a procedure done, right? I think it was you. You had a procedure because I think Marco mentioned it too. Okay, Granny B is showing terrific. Okay, it wasn't you. I can't remember who it was. And if you all, those of you that's up here that are content creator, do you see my let me see that night box. No. If you type in exclamation, no spaces, Dr. J with no spaces, that will drop your information if you are a content creator. And that would be a way for you to connect. If you go back up to my night box there and read that message that says, if you are a content creator and you would like a shout out, do you want a shout out? If so, let night box drop your link. And it's telling you to type exclamation mark Dr. J, don't put any spaces, in the chat to get seen if you're interested in that. Okay, you pulled the muscle. Okay, oh wow. So prayerfully, okay, it's going to take some time for that to heal too. Terrific. That's going to take some time. You know what? I had something else that I wanted to mention. Have you all been keeping up? Because I'm going to have ongoing information about um, because of the importance that it carries. I'm going to have ongoing information about this literacy crisis because we're still dealing with it. This literacy crisis that we're dealing with in the United States. What do you all think about? I'm gonna hop off that because with my channel, I do share trending topics. I stick a lot to educational topics, so it's not like I'm all over the place. But that's what I put in my description that my channel is about. So I said that to say the killing of politician Charlie Kirk, that politician assassination. What are your thoughts about that? And they have this suspect that murdered him. He has been identified. It's been all over the news as a 22-year-old Utah resident. He actually attended that Utah University for a little while as well. Tyler Robinson is his name. He's now in custody. So, do you think was he assassinated, or should I say unalived? Was he unalived because of his political viewpoint? That was crazy. And yes, it was very sad. Very sad. These are just the times that we're living in. And I do this mental illness stuff too. Everybody just on edge. Everybody on edge now. And as I call it, another senseless death, another senseless killing for no reason. Have you all heard the exact reason why? What's the rationale for Tyler unaliving Charlie Kirk? Have you all been keeping up with that story? But hopefully you all, as you type that in, have your notification bell set because I promise you, and I don't want to, beat that dead horse, but I do have more information that I will be sharing as far as literacy is concerned because we got to teach our young folks. We got to get them back to reading. And I appreciate, terrific, I appreciate your participation in this, Granny B. I do appreciate your dialogues in this, but I do have more information that I'm going to share. And I might come back tomorrow. I don't know if I'll hit on this literacy thing again. It might just be a chit chat. I don't bring out content every day, because you have to step away from this. Sometimes I just come out and we just chit and we just chat a little bit about this and a little bit about that. So that's what we like I said, if I don't be back tomorrow, it'll be early next week. But I'm at least going to try to get back to my 2-3 times a week or whatever. I have some information to share on penmanship too. So what are your takes? Have you all been following this story with this Charlie Kirk being unalived? Have you all been following that? Granny B or Terrific. I don't know if Z Adams is still in here. What are your thoughts on that? Because we're living in some really sad, crazy times now. But it's not that serious just to take a death because of a disagreement or you don't agree with someone else's thoughts or viewpoints on things. I mean, this is America and we are entitled, to our rights. No, I haven't been following it. Yes, but that's what they call it. The unaliving of politician Charlie Kirk. They want to say that it was kind of probably based on his viewpoints. I don't know. I haven't, I limit the amount of news time I watch. Oftentimes I'll do more reading than watching it on TV because of the fact that I have to protect my mental. So, but I do know it was a sad situation and just seems like another one of those, just another senseless death. But I wanted to mention that since that was trending now, that's on every block that you turn to. But really, I came out here to talk about this reading crisis, this literacy crisis that we have going on in the United States. And the thing about it, I think I said that earlier, it didn't just start. It has not just started in 2025. It's been around for quite some time. And we keep putting money in all of these different programs. But guess what? The problem is still there. It's kind of like complaining. Why complain? You say always, okay, 100. Why complain? Like I tell people, try not to complain because most of the times after you finish complaining, the problem is still there. So this is the same way with this reading crisis that we have going on. It didn't just start January 2025. It didn't just start, what is this, last month, August 2025. It didn't just start this month, September. It's been around for years, probably for decades. Reading is fundamental. Absolutely. And I think that's what my thumbnail says too. Hey, Nightbot. Okay. Barbara, if you go back and where it says, if you drop in, Granny B, if you put in an exclamation, no spaces, Dr. J, capital D, lowercase r, dot J, and it should drop your information there. And that's for all content creators. Oh, and good one. Okay, I think children still need to be taught. Absolutely. And I have information. I don't know if you were up here when I said it. I do have information that I'm going to share too about penmanship. I'm coming back with some information on penmanship too. And believe it or not, this year they have put cursive writing back in the standard as well. So people were kind of excited about this, but you got to think we have about a decade, probably over a decade of students, grown folks out there, young folks out there that don't know how to write in cursive because it was taken out. I don't know what great mind felt the importance of taking handwriting, cursive writing out of the school system. That didn't make a whole lot of sense. Oh, and good one. I think children still need to be taught square. Okay, yes, we're gonna do that one. I don't know the details. Okay, okay. Yeah. I don't do a lot of following the news either, but it pops up everywhere. I just knew he was a politician that used to go around, and encourage the younger people to vote, and he wanted to see President Trump as president again, and he encouraged them to get out and vote. So, but I haven't been looking too deep into it. Like you said earlier, Granny B, sad situation. And I am, just a crazy situation. Hey, Pinky, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by, for dropping in. Thank you. Thank you. Happy Saturday to you as well. Hopefully you're having a super Saturday. Please drop for me this time. Okay, I got distraction in the background. Thanks. We have a way to pour into our kids every day. Yes, we do. We do. And oftentimes, like I tell people, Granny B, it doesn't take, like during the summer, we encourage, parents to work with their children, kind of like to keep them on a routine. And for homework, it does not take an hour, 2 hour, 3 hours at home. Just a simple research. If your students can, if a child can just read 20 minutes a day, that's not a whole lot, just 20 minutes. Set a timer. Most of them have cell phones, you can set up 20 minutes on a cell phone timer just for them to read. That would make a world of difference. Just a world of difference. Just a little time. Like Terrific said, while the parents are in the kitchen cooking, have them over there at that table working on that homework or doing something educational or doing something instructional, just a little time. It will take you a long way. Long way. We have a America should be ashamed compared to other countries. We are absolutely, and who said that? And every chance I get, believe it or not, I'm going to keep this data before me, and I am going to share it. Don't get mad at me. I'm just the messenger. 17% of Black students, 21% of Latino students, 11%, even compared to students with disabilities, 10% of bilingual students, you know, can read proficiently by fourth grade. And yes, other countries are outperforming our students. They surely are terrific. And yep, I agree. America should be shamed. We should be absolutely ashamed of ourselves. Little steps make yes, little steps makes a difference. Walking together. Yes, spell the active discovery. Absolutely. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, but just like I said about this channel, you got to be consistent with it. You can't do it once a month, once every 2 months. This is something you need to at least try to do every day. Okay. We know life happens. If you miss out on Monday, make sure you try to pick it up on Tuesday. But it should be done more often than not. And then when they go to school, you let the teachers, let the school pick up and do what they do. Thank you, LOL. I said script. Oh, okay. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. That's old school. That's old school. Terrific. I knew exactly what you meant. But we're all excited. My sister, even she's excited. She told me that her granddaughter, which is my little great niece, she was like, she's writing in cursive this year. She's right. So I think some of the parents are happy that it's back. But and hopefully those smart leaders, educational leaders, won't see a need to remove it from the curriculum again. Because, like I said, we have a generation out there that it was deleted from the curriculum and it was not taught in school anymore. Because I think back in the day they used to start introducing in cursive writing around third grade. They would start, introducing some letters. Because my little great niece, my sister's granddaughter, she's fourth grade and she's learning how to write in cursive. So they did put it back into the curriculum this year, which is great. You must be physically and emotionally present. Absolutely. You are so right, Granny B. You are so right. And it wouldn't hurt to driving to church every now and then. We gotta do something. And I think, do y'all think if these things that we're talking about were taking place, do you think prison rates would be as high as they are? Do you think prisons now are going up? Do you think prisons would be going up like schools now? Do you think that our boys especially would be so quick to unalive one another? Granted, B, if we were doing those things, if we were physically and emotionally present with our children, do you think if we were doing that we would be up here having the discussion about the literacy crisis in the United States? All of this, it goes back to those two words there that you just said, physically and emotionally. We gotta put the time in. There's no way around it. Technology can't do it. These devices can't do it. These social media platforms, they cannot do it. We got to put the time in. We really do. My 5-year-old granddaughter is reading on second grade level. Somebody's putting the time in. I promise you, someone is putting that time in. Your 5-year-old granddaughter is reading on second grade level. Wow, that's impressive. Her mother and dad pour into absolutely. And I promise you, if I could talk to them right now, I don't even know the situation. I promise you, when they pour into her, I promise you, they can tell you, ask them, and I bet you they are not pouring into her 5 hours a day. It doesn't take that, but just pour into sometime 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day. It does not take a whole hour every day. And that's not right to a child. They've sat in that school and listened to the teachers all day. So they too, by right, need a little break. but we still have to make sure we put that time in as parents. 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes a day is all it takes. But we got to be consistent with it. Like I said, we got to do it more than once a month or once bi-weekly. These things, this time, we got to pour weekly. And God forbid, especially during the summertime, talk about a summer slide. Wow. Okay, reading a chapter 2. Absolutely. Absolutely. A chapter 2 a day, and you can read it. And terrific. It doesn't take a whole hour to read a chapter. 15, 20, 30 minutes at the most. Read it, fold that page down, and you go on about your business. Reading a chapter or 2 a day is what I like to implement. And that's perfect. Perfect. It will make a difference. It will make a difference. But the parents just got to be willing to sacrifice and put that time in. You have to. But like I said, this is going to be ongoing information with me. And the other thing, in order for the school to do their part, and this is another topic for another day, I have information coming on this too, that attendance piece of it. Parents, we got to get up off of our butts and make sure, I said I'm included in that too, get those children on the buses or put them in your cars and drive them to school. Absenteeism is another crisis. That's another issue that our schools are dealing with across the country, not just in Georgia, not just in Chicago, not just in New York. Everybody is dealing with that situation as well. It's crazy. If I didn't have grandkids, I wouldn't have known they took Cursor out of school. Absolutely. So that's why I try to, with my channel, I drop little nuggets here of what's going on, because like I said, that's kind of like with my channel, Terrific. I hit on, I mean, it's not popular, but it's information, I deem important. And I feel like people need to know, because this is what I know. I spent 30 years of my life, doing this. This was my bread and butter. So I just want to be a voice and an advocate for the school, for the parents, or for for what's right when it comes to rearing these grown folks. Like I said, they won't be children forever. You think about it. We are raising adults, and they didn't ask to be born into this world. So once the Lord blesses us with these bundles of joy, our life it's not about us anymore. We got to make sure, that these little people have what they need to be productive citizens in life. And I said all of that to say, we as parents, we have to put the time in. So when I come and give my thoughts and my viewpoints, I'm not pointing fingers at anywhere at anybody, because like I said, I always like to give that disclaimer. I'm included in with the parents as well. So I'm not leaving me out. These people always worrying about the wrong thing. I agree. I totally agree, Granny B. But you all can see from this topic that I'm sharing, that we're talking about today, they have bigger fish to fry. These are the things that they need to be worried about, these children, this literacy crisis. I don't know if y'all agree with that we are experiencing here in the United States. But on the flip side about it, the part that I like, even though it is a crisis, literacy is a crisis, but it's totally preventable. That's the part that I like. It can be fixed. It can be turned around. But I know I've said it just about 12, 15, 20 times. I'm included in that we as parents, grandparents, we have to be willing to put the time in. We have to be willing to put it in. We surely do. And I share information I don't know if y'all got a chance to look at the short. Grandparents Day was celebrated last Sunday. Some people celebrated it the last week and this week. And I have some shorts, and I even put a video or two up there. Grandparents Day at the book fair. So that's why I said parents, grandparents, when they're with us, or with the grandparents. It's our responsibility to help the working parents out. Like you said earlier, I forgot your exact statement, Granny B. The parents are out working, trying to make a living. Oftentimes the grandparents have to step in. So we need to have a little library, 4, 5, 10 books at our houses too. Let them read to us, when we have them there. And if the parents are working late, we can help out to make sure they get that homework done. And even if they don't have homework, like I said, we end up going to the book fair with them, buying books, keep those books at our houses. So when they come through, or we have to pick them up from school, or they get off the bus at our houses, let's make sure that they pick those books up and read for, 10 or 15 minutes. Give them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a little quick snack when they get off those buses or arrive home, and have them read for a few minutes. Have them read. If we can't, we must find resources. Okay, Brandon B said, did I read that one? These people always worrying about, okay, the wrong thing. I read that one. If we can't, we must find resources for our children. Someone will be delighted to help. Yes, yes. And take the time, find it important enough to get them there. I keep going back to getting them there, Granny B, because like I said earlier, we got to get these parents into the habit of making sure these children get to school. Because I always say the teachers can't teach them, guess what, if they're not there. And something else that's a problem is tardy. If you're not going to get your behind up, that's including me too, as a parent. If I'm not going to get my sorry butt up and get that child on, driving them to school, put them on a bus. The bus comes by that house. We are taxpayers, and we are entitled to, or our children are entitled to, a free bus ride to school. But in actuality, it's not free, because our taxpayers' money pay for those big yellow buses that are so expensive. I didn't realize school buses were so expensive. Those things cost about as much as a house. And then you have students that get on the bus and they destroy them. They poke holes in the seats. They write on the seats. They do all of these things. And parents don't want to take responsibilities for that either. But we just got to do better, parents. And I'm included with that. We have to do better and get back to a day. And I think, Granny B, you had a topic about this not long ago on your channel. What we as parents got to, we just got to do better. But we can't. We must find resources. Okay, and resources are out there too. I think good subject could be, okay, school lunch. Okay, school lunch. Okay, what they're serving these kids are worse. Okay, then they're serving prison, just as bad. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, I have to look into that one. Terrific. Look, now you got to come back now when I bring this information. You got to come back. You have really added value to our conversation today. And I had only planned to be up here for about an hour. And look, time went by so fast, but they say time flies when you're having fun. My hour is about up here. What are they serving these kids are worse than what they're serving prisoners. Are just as bad for some kids. Okay, that is their only decent meal. I agree. I thought you were going to talk about that sugary stuff, all that sweet stuff they serve them at breakfast too. I'm going to have to look into that and see what kind of information I can find on that. Terrific. It's important in order to learn. You can absolutely, you can't be hungry. I agree with that. And as far as those school lunches, I can go ahead and hit on this now. They are still blaming Michelle Obama. I'm like, Michelle and Barack, former president, first lady, they are gone away by their life, and they're still blaming Michelle Obama for the lunches being so terrible. Y'all need to get over it and go ahead and then sprinkle a little, just a tab of salt, not much. We don't need that salt, but you can make those lunches a little bit more tasteful for the children. But I can tell you, terrific, that's what's behind these bad lunches now. They all blame Michelle Obama for that. So you can find somebody else to blame. She's gone now. She won't be returning to the White House anytime soon. unless, she answers the call. Several people had asked her a couple times about running for president, but she's gone now. So start back feeding those children some good meals. I agree. I actually forgot about that, Terrific, until you brought it up. So that's pretty much the information that I have. Y'all, please make sure you set your notification bells so that you will be and I think Terrific, this is your first time being able to catch almost at the beginning. Normally, I'm about ready to go off when you come on, but I might just come back tomorrow and you might hear some of the same dialogue over and over because, like I said, this is what I know. This is what I've spent about the last 3 decades of my life doing. But my topic does not solely center around education. You will hear a lot about education, like you'll continue to hear about literacy. I include mental health topics on my channel as well. Um, I have information to share about attendance. I have information coming about, you call it script, about the incursive writing, just the importance of penmanship. And I do trending topics up here as well. So, but I do have more information. Then sometimes I come out when you see my light on, just come on over and we just talk about a little bit of this and a little bit of that. To kind of like step away from this worldly stuff. And I might just come out, just ask, how is your day going? How is your mental today? Because like I always say, any day above dirt that I can get up, brush my teeth, put my clothes on, wash them and take care of my personal needs. I'm blessed. So, just little things like that we often take for granted. I'm just in a day, that I don't have to go to a jail house to visit anybody. I don't have to go to the hospital to visit anybody. You're not, planning a funeral. I'm blessed. I'm just thankful. So some days we'll just come up here just to talk, just to say, how's the weather where you are? How's your day going? Are you having a super Saturday? And we won't even talk about this literacy stuff, about stuff we should be doing as a parent, about who got unalived, about this and that. So, and that's pretty much, I don't know if you've had a chance to hear that, but that's pretty much what my channel focuses on. But I do have some information I'm excited to share about penmanship. Oh, we can now, okay, no excuses. Okay, we can now video chat with the kids. Absolutely. That's a good one. That's a good one. Look, what are you saying, Terrific? Put those devices to work. Yeah, video chat. Let me hear that baby read to me and let me see them do some home. Absolutely. That's a good one. I like that one. I need to jot that one down so I know I might end up using that one. That's a good one. Put those devices to work. Get them off of YouTube. Video. Look, you might be over there in Chicago and I'm in New York, but still, I need to see that my baby is doing their homework. I want to make sure that you, my daughter, my son, my niece, my nephew are doing what you're supposed to be doing as a parent, and you're having my niece, my grandbaby reading. Put them on FaceTime and let me hear him or her read to me. That's a very valid point. I like that. Oh my God, for real? Ridiculous. Okay, what is that too? Terrific. I surely will. Yes, please, please. I enjoy having you here. I enjoy. So yes, please make sure that notification bell is set. Like I said, I had some problems, with my computer acting up, and that kind of set me back. And it forced me. I'm on my cell phone now. I gotta actually still get a new computer. That set me back, and having, some little projects going on. But I put so much time into this channel. I got to get back moving. I got to, put my time in because I kind of like my tribe had found me, and my numbers had gone up tremendously. So, but I'm going to get back on being consistent with this. Yes, I would love to have you back. But this is pretty much how I do. It just depends on the topic. that I have. Some are more exciting than others, but oftentimes, this is not, sadly, this is not what interests people. But guess what? Terrific. And Granny B says the best. She told me she would still keep putting it out there. She said people need to know it. So I said I will. It's not exciting, but it's real. I'm a realist, and this is information this is, these are topics. This is part of our livelihood. This is, it's real. So I will continue to bring it. If it can help somebody, or if it can, keep the focus on those things that are important, you know, I'm gonna keep bringing it. Um, okay, Granby, I think so. From psychological perspective, we must find a way to support. Yes, broken family. Children won't be okay if home. Okay, if it's full of chaos. I agree. I agree. And Granby, I think this is your background. This is your background talking. Didn't you tell me you came from that defects background? This is that background talking right now. But where do we start? Where do we start? It's like we need to take care of that before we take care of this. But you got to think, time waits on no one. I mean, we got to make this a sense of urgency, because once these babies, um, like Terrific said, the school, sometimes they pass the children on, but kindergarten, first, second, third grade, you can't get that time back. So I said that to say it's a sense of urgency. We got to go ahead and fix that so we can make sure this, you know what I'm saying, gets the attention that it needs. These broken homes, it's not, and I keep going back, these babies are innocent. They don't ask to be born into this mess. Your life is not about you when you give birth to some little short legs. So we just got to prioritize. We got to prioritize, because these children, they deserve the best that we have to offer them. I didn't know you were going live. Okay, thought you were. Oh no, no. I got to get back to doing lives. I actually been trying to get my watch hours up. But yes, I got to get back to it, because I was doing it much more. Granny B would tell you, faithful. But like I said, life just started life, and then life happened, and it kind of, took me down another path. But I feel like I'm back now, and I'm going to um get back on my consistency. Okay, you're interested. Well, well, thank you. Granny B, that you that Terrific said that she's interested. Well, good, good. A lot of folks are not interested in this type stuff, but like I said, I'm gonna keep bringing it. Like you, somebody out there would want to, would benefit from it, because it's stuff that it needs to be said. It needs to, in my opinion, it needs to be said. It needs to be shared. Um, it needs to be. And like I said, I'm going to continue to bring it. Like I said, something as small as penmanship. Our children, they need to know how to write. They need to know how to in cursive, attendance. Parents, I got to tell them, you got to get those babies at school. The teachers can't teach them if they are not there. And if I can get this information broadcast for more people to see, this data that I just shared with you all from our national assessment of education, the nation's report card, I think, more parents will probably, I guess, see the seriousness of it. And I'm going to give this data again: 17% of Black students, 21% of Latino students, 11% of students with disabilities, and 10% of bilingual learners can read proficiently by fourth grade. That's a small percentage. We're not even at 50%. And neither one of these categories are we even at 40%. So, ladies, there is indeed an issue. We are in a crisis mode when it comes to reading. And let me ask you this question. I stated this earlier. Do you think this is why we're build prisons are going up as like schools? Remember, I shared that research with you earlier too. According to research, if a child is not reading grade level by third grade, that almost guarantees them a bed in your local prison. So, do you think the two, by listening to these numbers I just gave you, and every time you turn the TV on, I don't know about in your community, but in mine, my surrounding areas, someone has been unalived, someone is on the run. The cops or Crime Stoppers are looking for such and such because they committed a robbery, they unalived somebody. Do you think these numbers, ladies? Do you think the two go hand in hand? What are your thoughts on that? And we're gonna get ready to get off of here in a minute. Okay, we need to get all we can get. Okay, let's see. Let me go back. Did I miss something? I don't know you. Okay, I didn't know you were going live. I thought you were. No, no, no. I'm gonna start back being more consistent. But like I said, terrific. Every time I go, sometimes you'll just see a chit and chat, and we'll just be up here, just checking in. Okay, you said you're interested. I read that. We need to get all we can get to the HP. Yes, I understand. Life do be life, and yes, 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 to help our families and communities. Absolutely, this is beneficial to. I agree. Just if I can get them terrific to realize that it's beneficial. Yeah, I try to bring things that I would want to hear. As a parent. I don't have grandchildren now, but I have little great nieces and nephews that I help out with. Of course, my baby is what 31, I think. So, but I I'm gonna try. I try not to bring anything out here to waste anybody's time. I try to bring valuable information out to share with people, if that makes sense. All Black parents specific. Absolutely. That's why I said forget about the other categories. Just 17% of Black students can read proficiently by fourth grade. 17%. And like I stated earlier, Frederick Douglass once said, once you learn to read, you will be forever free. Forever free. Can you imagine if people like Rosa Parks and these people, Frederick Douglass, folks that were not allowed to attend school back in the day and, had to sneak and try to learn how to read. And now here we are, we get new buildings, we're in new schools, we have new materials to use. And what do we do with it? We do absolutely nothing with it. Can you imagine the people way back yonder, where they would be if they had the opportunities that our children, our boys and girls have now? Can you imagine? They were killed and beaten for wanting to learn how to read, for wanting to be educated. And you have children now, you almost have to beat their butts to make, the total opposite, to make them, get their work done, get their lesson, get an education, not go down to that schoolhouse and act like a bunch of monkeys. I'm talking about mine too, not anybody else. I'm included with those too. But that's a quote from Frederick Douglass. Once you learn to read, you will be forever free. But evidently, the way our children, the way that data looks that I just gave you, it makes you wonder, do you think our children want to be free? I'm not talking about the Latino, I'm talking about these Black students, these 17% of Black students. Only 17% of Black students can proficiently read by fourth grade. It makes you wonder. Let me see what you all have here. Okay, all Black parents. Okay, I didn't miss anything. But that's pretty much. Do you all have anything closing? My goal was to do an hour, and I usually, terrific, don't do really, really long. I do 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. So every now and then I might go an hour, 30 minutes. It just depends on, and I have gone hour, 30 minutes or so back before I fell off when life started life. But most of the times I can do what I need to do in about an hour. I surely can. And I appreciate you all so much for hanging in here with me. And I'm glad you caught me earlier. Like I said, terrific. Most of the times when you come on, I'm about to get ready to get off. So I'm elated. Okay, love that quote. I know. That's a powerful quote. Comparing it, someone like Frederick Douglass, you know what I'm saying, who didn't have nearly the opportunities that we have now. And all we need our children to do now is just pick up a book. Just pick up a book. When you go down to those schoolhouses, sit your bottoms down and listen to those teachers and be respectful and act like you have some home training. That's all we ask. And try. TRY, try. That's all we ask. And it's like pulling teeth. It's an act of Congress to get some of them to do that. So I enjoyed this today myself, if I must say. It's good to have other people, to hear your input. And I'll catch it. I'll be here. Okay, if catch it. Okay, I'll be here. Okay. Yeah, but if not, you can do the replay too. But I enjoyed having you here. Everyone, please enjoy the remainder of your day. Thank you, Dr. J, for this valuable information. Thanks, and you enjoy the rest of your day too. Continue to have a super splendid Saturday, and thank you again for tuning in. Thank you so much and terrific. I'm so happy that you were able to catch us. But like I said, this was just one. I've talked about this in the past, but this is something that I hope you don't deem it to be redundant. But I will be bringing more information as far as literacy is concerned, because it's a crisis. It's a crisis, even though it's preventable. It is a crisis, and I am here. I research it, I read about it, and I feel like it's valuable information that needs to be shared. If you can't read, you can't fit. Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I guess that's why research says, like I said earlier, we're either going to pay on the front end, which is now invest in them, get them to reading on grade level so that they will be proficient, they will be capable and able to get out there and find employment, so that they are not out there unaliving folks, stealing, taking things that don't belong to them and end up in somebody's prison where we will have to pay on the back end. So we either pay on the front end, which is getting them educated, ready to go out into society. Now we pay on the front end, or we're going to pay on the back end. There's only two choices. There's only two choices. There are no in between. There's no in between. And believe you when I say prisons are going up like schools. Prisons are going up like schools. And then on the flip side of that, I don't know when the last time y'all entered a school, I often tell people now, whoever thought we would be living in a time like this, when you go out of a school, it's like, and this is my opinion, it's like entering into a prison. You got to press this button, which is good. I mean, it's just the times that we're living in now, but I'm just saying, you got to press that button. You got to tell them who you are. You got to press that button to get inside. You got to press that, just press. I was in a school, had a project going on just Thursday. Went in, and they even have, like, I guess they're called metal detectors, kind of like when you go inside the courthouse. Well, kind of like when you're at an airport, when you have to put all your things up there on the little belt, and then you have to walk through the thing. Say what? Yeah, yeah. And then you have to walk through the metal detector. I mean, that's entering a school now. It's like entering into a freaking prison. But you have to, because you have these nuts that, whoever would have thought, want to go inside of a school. Especially, they like to target those. Well, they do a lot of high schools too, and unaliving as many little people as they can find. But on the flip side of that, whoever thought that they would want to go inside of a church and unalive people? These are just the times that we're living in. These are just the time that we're living in. So those are the type things that, like I said, terrific. I know you're probably tired of me saying this, but that's kind of like what my channel is kind of like built around. This is the type of information that I will be sharing. But we've been up here for almost an hour, 20 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and close out now. And I can express my gratitude, my gratefulness, my thankfulness for you all coming in. Even though I have not done a live in quite some time, I thank you all for stopping by and just hanging out with me today. And like I said, keep your bells on, because I just might be back out tomorrow. It just depends on how my day those. If not, for sure, early next week. Early next week, I plan to be back. I don't know if it'll be more on literacy, but I have some information about the use of devices. That's going to be kind of interesting, that use of devices. But terrific. I need to jot down too, as soon as I get off, that information that you use about us as grandparents, caregivers, loved ones. We can use those devices in a positive way. And like, hey son, hey daughter, hey niece, hey nephew, let me see Zoe, put her on screen time, and let me see Noelle. Let her, while you're cooking dinner, listen at this, Granny B. I hope you're still here. Let me hear Noelle while you prepare dinner, or while you are cleaning off the deck. Let her read to me. Let's FaceTime and let her read to me for 20 minutes. Let me see those spelling words. Let me watch her do that homework while you prepare dinner, while you take your shower, while you do whatever. So I like that. That's a good way to put the devices to a good use. I like that. Terrific. Show ID. Give you exactly. It never be redundant until it's fixed. Well, that's a good point too. That's a good point. I like that. Exactly. And seems like we do have some work to do to get it fixed. Seems like because I'm on this end saying, okay, who do we blame? The school? What are the parents doing? And I know, and I like this kind of dialogue. And Granny B is saying, but Dr. J, we have broken homes. These parents are single. They got to do blase blase blase. You see what I'm saying? We all have different perspective, and this is what makes the lives come alive and so interested. Okay, Granny, like, but Dr. J, the dads are not in the homes. They're not there to help the moms, and the moms are doing the best they can. Okay, Granny B, I have that. I get it. I get it, Granny B. But these little short legs over here are still growing. They didn't ask to be here, Granny B. They didn't ask to be here. What are we going to do to get them where they need to be? So I like that kind of dialogue. That is good. It will never be redundant. Okay, until it's fixed. I like that. Terrific. I like that. Show I didn't give some. Yeah, and to get into a school now, terrific. You have to give everything but your birth weight. You have to give everything. I agree. I like those emojis. Hey, Mark, just stopping by to check on you. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. I took the poll. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. You see, I've gone over my time. I should have been off about 23 minutes ago. Just bringing some information here on this crisis that we're dealing with in the United States, this literacy crisis. But the good thing about it, Mark, the good thing about it, they say that it's preventable. So these young ladies have really shared some interesting topics, interesting discussions here. And I'm like you, I got to get back on it. I dropped the ball a little bit, Mark. So I got to get back up and moving. Life had been life in my way. So I got to tighten back up. But I appreciate you stopping by to check in with me. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to end. Hopefully you all will continue to have a super, super, super splendid Saturday. And thanks again for stopping by. Yes, keep up the good work. Yeah, I got to get back into it. I got to get back into the word. Like I said, life, you understand, life had been life in 4 minutes. So I just got to get back into it, Mark. And hopefully I get a chance to catch you really soon. Hopefully so. So I appreciate you all stopping in, and I'm going to go ahead and end this live. I went a few minutes over. And until next time, y'all continue to have a super Saturday. Bye for now.